Welcome along, everybody. We are back for ALR Silver. We are here now for round 5 of the season so far. It's been flying through. Dan Murphy has already decided not to take part in qualifying. But yes, we are back as Nigel's left the session now. Hopefully he can get himself back in quickly. Like I said, he's got 17 minutes of time. But yeah, we'll get on with the pleasantries, shall we? Welcome along to the stream, everybody. We have, of course, the 5th round of the season in silver. We've had quite a few races already. We've had 4. But so far the season's been absolute crackers at the beginning. I think we just had another retirement there. Somebody else has retired in the pits. But yeah, what a cracker it's been so far this season. And like I said, we're reaching the quarter final point. Speaking of football, there is a goal in the Brazil game and Korea game, I think it is. But we don't have to worry about that because we're watching the ALR stream instead. Good stuff indeed. But yeah, so like I said, this is about the quarterway, almost the quarterway point of the season so far. Let's go Silver, says Goku in the chat. McMuffin as well. Good luck to everybody as well. Good luck always from the Ultimate Beast as well, who is of course reserving tonight. And not looking forward to this one, says Irvine. So positivity there from the Haas driver of Irvine there. But fingers crossed it can turn out all right for him in the race. But we'll have to try and change the telemetry so we can have a look and see what's going on the track. But welcome along, everybody, to Miami. The first time, of course, that Silver is going to be racing around here. So that is going to be an interesting one indeed. Let's have a look. I think it's a McLaren of Ultimate Beast himself who is on track first. So he will be taking us through this wonderful, wonderful circuit. It is actually quite an interesting circuit, in my opinion. I don't mind it. It's not my favourite, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter that much about what my opinion is. It's what these drivers are going to be doing on track tonight. That is going to be the key ingredient to making it an entertaining race. And I'm sure, well, as far as I've seen in this season of Silver, it's going to be an entertaining one nonetheless, and a very good, clean racing as per usual. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what the Silver guys can do, of course. Looks like Beefy, Dan Murphy and Bradfield don't want to take part in qualifying. Nigel, thankfully, has joined back into the session. So that is good stuff. Indeed, he can take part in the qualifying session once he's jumped back into his car. There we go. But yeah, it's going to be Ultimate Beast, of course, reserving for Florin. Unfortunately, Florin, I'm not quite sure why he couldn't make it tonight, but he's once again missing out in that McLaren car. But Beast is stepping up to see what he can do in his place as he takes himself down towards turn 1. Quite a difficult braking zone, especially off the start into turn 1. So guys need to be watching out for that onto the first lap, I should say, from the start lights. And very easy to spin the car through turns 2 and 3 as well. Through here as well, 6, 7 and 8. And now around the long left-hander, which is very easy to get wrong and lose a lot of time on as well. As we've got, I think somebody else I think it was just Nigel getting him back in his car. Thankfully, he's got back in. He can get on with his qualifying now as well. But yeah, the Beast now coming down at the back straight, well, the second of the back straights, I should say. 3 DRS zones around here. We're just witnessing the second one. Well, technically, it's the first one because the first DRS zone starts on the main straight, but before the start-finish line. So technically, it is the last DRS zone, not the first one. Now coming round through the flyovers, or under the flyovers, I should say. You can see there all of the bypasses, or the roads, I should say, in English, as the Americans like to change their names, change the words, I should say. But we'll forgive them for that. But yeah, now coming through under the flyovers, now down the second of the back straights. Of course, another DRS zone there as well, and now through towards the Hard Rock Stadium itself. And round the final couple of corners to go fastest so far with the 28.3 there. Good stuff indeed from Ultimate Beast. I think it's Kamara Racer. They're coming round next to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. He's gone at second fastest with the 28.4. Craig R in the other McLaren 29.2 there, sorry, for Craig. Just putting himself up into P3 for the time being. Let's have a look and see what Tango can do. He's gone into P3, displacing Craig there with the 28.6. And a few more people just crossing the line, starting their laps as well. Dopey Lemons there, just starting the lap, coming around turn 1 now. Let's see what his teammate is up to. I think it's his teammate of Fudge McMuffin up to the line. What can he do? It's P5 there, 31.4. I don't think that's a competitive time there for McMuffin. We'll see what he can do in terms of improving on that reflection there. Popped himself up into P4 with a 29.1 as well. Good stuff indeed from the Red Bull driver. And we've got another Mercedes coming through. It's Brabbitt there into P7 there. Once again, a 33.3. I don't think that's a competitive time there from the Mercedes driver. As somebody else has jumped up there. It's Cassell there with a 29.0 up into P4 there. Cassell not looking forward to this race either, same as Irvine. But he's managed to get himself comfortably up into P4 as it stands at the moment. Of course, a short qualifying format for silver and bronze, of course, tomorrow as well. So stay tuned for bronze. Serious Mushroom just commented in the chat as well. Of course, one of the most famous bronze drivers in ALR. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. But a short qualifying format for Monday nights in silver, and then Tuesday nights as well in bronze, and that means that we can get to the race a bit quicker as well. So we've only got 12 minutes left of the qualifying, with a shootout now for the top steps, or for the podium places basically. But Kamara Racer, they're coming into the pits. It looks like I think the Craig R is also coming in. And let's have a look and see who's going to be next on a flying lap. It might be Cartboy. No, it's not. It's Cartboy is on a out lap. They're just starting his lap now. Pot Stuff is coming around the final couple of corners in the other Red Bull. Now Reflection, his teammate, up in P6 now. Reflection there had a bit of a difficult start to the season, but now picking up some points. We scored some good points in Imola. Pot Stuff there popped himself up into P11 there, but it's a 12.2, so definitely not a competitive time there at this stage of the race, or stage of the qualifying I should say. But I think you might be going again on this lap, so we'll stay on board with Pot Stuff here to have a quick tour around the Miami International Autodrome, which is how it's named actually. But you would have thought they might call it the Hard Rock Stadium track or something like that, but no, they've decided to make it a bit more fancier than that. Good luck to everyone who says Serious Mushroom, especially the Haas drivers, of course, supporting the famous Haas car. Fanjo and Irvine, of course, in the Haas team for the silver setup. So looking forward to seeing what they can do in this race. Of course, Fanjo is trying to battle for the championship here with Nigel. Nigel just extended his lead in the last round, of course, winning the sprint race, and then coming second, I think it was, in the actual race itself, to Fanjo. So it was quite close between the two of them all weekend. As Potts there coming through the underpass section, and I think you're going over the curb there. It sort of unsettled the car there a bit, didn't it? But he's managed to keep it going in the right direction. He's 43 seconds up on his time, which is pretty good. So he might be in the ballpark of a 1:30, 1:29 here, and it comes to the finish line as well for this lap. But yeah, he'll go down to the back straight, down to the final hairpin. Very easy to spin the car on traction on the exit of this corner. He's coming back into the pits. I think he might be. He's aborting this lap now. He decided to call it a day and come into the pits once again. So unfortunately for Potstop, not going to improve on that time on that lap. Fanjo is out on track, and I think Nigel is as well. Nigel's got himself out on track as well, so good stuff indeed. The three have retired. Dan Murphy, Bradfield and Beefy will be displaced down the order, of course, once more drivers set a time. I think it will be Fanjo who will be starting his lap next, so we'll stay on board with Fanjo, of course, who is the second place in the championship right now, and we want to see what he can do. Can he take the fight to Nigel once again for the championship? Of course, take the title fight, make it even closer, make it even tighter. We're only 5 rounds in, of course, 24 rounds in this season. So it's going to be quite a lot of action to unfold. But here comes Fanjo now into turn 1, making sure he gets that breaking point right. Car number 2 there in the Haas. I can't remember what car number I am now. I haven't raced that much. So I did race yesterday in gold. I was absolutely appalling because I had a setup from when the game came out, I think, pretty much. And yeah, I was just trying to keep it on track really and not cause any safety cars. In my personal opinion, that was a great achievement from me. But anyway, Fanjo will be looking to do a bit better than that as he now comes down the back straight. I think he might be getting a tow here from his teammate of Irvine. Yellow flag in sector 2. I think that might be the Ferrari that's a bit stricken there, but we'll come back to that. Hopefully there's no damage there, as I think Irvine, I think he might have got a slight tow there as my headset has decided to die. But he might have got a slight tow from his teammate there, but I think Irvine just deciding that it would be better off getting out of the way of his teammate there on his flying lap as he comes now through the flyover section. Flying through indeed, and nearly close to the wall there, but he's managed to keep it out of danger so far. DRS is activated now for the Haas as he comes down the back straight towards the final hairpin. Here he comes in. 8 minutes left in this qualifying session. A few people still to set a time, or a competitive time that is as well, like Pot Stuff and Cartboy. I think they might be able to improve, but here comes Fanjo now round the final couple of corners. Here he comes up to the line. That pit entry is just a bit of an odd one there as he goes pole position so far, 27.996 there there, puts him almost 4 tenths faster than the Ultimate Beast, who is in P2. So good stuff indeed from Fangio, really cementing his championship credentials there by trying to get himself on pole position once again in this season and once again in Miami as well. We've had a spin there for Irvine. I think it's it's a big spin there into turn. How has he done that into turn 1? Oh, it's on the exit of turn 1 there. I thought it was into turn 1 there. Unfortunately, he's not been able to have a good time there on his first flying lap in anger. Here comes Nigel, though, on his flying lap down the back straight. Once again, the championship contender, the championship leader at this stage of the season, into the final hairpin as well. Coming round now towards the Hard Rock Stadium. There it is in the background there, looking very nice indeed. And now around the final corner up to the line. What's it going to be from Nigel? He's only P3. I say only P3, but he's done a 28.3 there. So he is about 4 tenths off his championship rival of Fangio as it stands at the moment. Kamara Racer doing a great job there in qualifying in P4. Yellow flag in Sector 2. I think it's a Mercedes. No, it's it must be a Mercedes. I think it's Tango. Unfortunately, having a bit of trouble there through the underpass section, but he's got himself back underway now, back on track and back in the right direction, which is good stuff indeed. But I think that's Brabbit has gone faster still. Oh my goodness, where did that lap time come from, Brabbit? He's done a great job there. 27.8 there. He's a tenth of a second faster than Fangio as well. And Brabbit there, like I said, it wasn't a contender, I wouldn't have said, before Imola, but with the points he scored in the sprint and in the race itself around round 4, around Emilia Romagna, however you pronounce that, he's really got himself up the championship order. And I think potentially if he can keep scoring some good points, consistent points, and especially if he can get it on pole like this as well, then we might see some more exciting races there from Brabbit as well. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. A fantastic lap time indeed so far, put him on pole position. Nigel there is coming back down at the back straight, but I think he might be just coming back into the pits on this lap. Kamara Race is back out on track as well. Let's have a look and see if Reflection is on a lap, I think. Is he? No, I don't think so. He's decided to abandon this one. Dopey Lemons then has just finished his lap. It looks like I think that ERS is quite low at the moment. Equaz, sorry, I just put myself up into P3. And that is a 28.2 there from the Aston Martin driver. Of course, Equaz currently P3 in the championship standings as well, and looking pretty good actually. Very consistent and clean from both the Aston Martin drivers. They're both doing a great job, and that's propelling them up the championship order as well. McMuffin has popped himself up into P3 as well. 28.0 there from the Alpine reserve. Unfortunately, DMAC there not joining us once again, but I'm not quite sure what his situation is. So hopefully he's all right and can get back racing with us very soon. But in the meantime, McMuffin is going to put himself up in P3, looking good in the Alpine in his place. So good stuff indeed. But at the moment, it seems to be a bit quieter now out on track. Cartboy's unfortunately validated his time here, so I don't know if he's got enough time, hopefully, to get back. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, so I can't see how much this timer is left on in the session. We've got 4.5 minutes there, so he's got time to get back in the pits and go back out once again. So that's not too bad. Pot stuff, I think, just abandoning his time there as well. He's done a 29.2 there. He put himself into P13, I should say. But he has improved there, of course, setting a 2:12 on his first flying lap. So that's, of course, definitely improved upon in his last few efforts. Irvine and Farf are still in the pits. Smithy and Whitey has just gone back out on track on an outlap now, so he's just going to get out of the way of the Alpine coming through of Fudge McMuffin, but I think he might be just harvesting at the moment, coming back into the pits on this occasion. So there we go then. Kamara Racer is on track. Let's see what Kamara can do, because he's now the next driver to set a lap time in anger. The Ferrari now negotiating the underpass section and now heading down the back straight. We saw a great battle here in real life F1 with of course Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, but I think that was when this round in terms of the real F1 season was when we saw the Ferrari start to drop off from the Red Bull, unfortunately, and the title fight sort of swing towards the Red Bull team, and of course Max who won it in the end. But here comes Kamara up into P2 there with a fantastic lap time of 27.956. He's almost half a tenth faster than Fangio as well. So that is a great time indeed from the Ferrari driver. Both Brabbit and Kamara really exceeding expectations in the qualifying so far. And that is looking good indeed for both of them as well at the top on the front row as well. Cassell unfortunately has invalidated his time. Craigar has just started a lap. Let's have a look at Cartboy. Cartboy's coming back into the pits, I think. Yep, he is. He's got time still to go back out, I think. So, yeah, potentially still some time on the board. Smithy Almighty has just started a lap now. We'll go on board with Smithy as we head down towards the back straight. Hang on. Where's the game audio gone? Bear with me 1 second. There you go. I was doing all that with no game audio. There we go. Got that sorted now, thankfully. Here comes Smithy. So we've done the whole of qualifying with no game audio, but we've got there in the end. Sorry about that. But here comes Smithy now down the back straight towards the final hairpin. Of course, still a couple more turns to go over the curb there. I think that might have unsettled the car, unfortunately, on the entry to that corner, but he's managed to keep it going in the right direction. And now across the line, it's going to be a 29.9 there, puts himself P14. Unfortunately, in the Williams, not too good indeed for Smithy, but of course, I think he might be able to improve on that if he can get enough, if he's got enough fuel to go around once again and save a bit of ERS on this next lap. I was wondering why it was sounding quiet, because every time I was talking it wasn't registering. Irvine's retired in the pits, I think, so that's him done and dusted in this qualifying session. Craigar is on track, but I think it's not. It's who's the next driver to cross the line? It is Craigar. He has jumped up to P11 there, 29.0 there for the McLaren driver, but he's not been able to get himself into the top 10 as it stands at the moment. Brabbit is just starting a lap now. We'll go on board with Brabbit. I think he's the next driver to cross the line. Yep, Fandra just starting a lap as well. Yeah, I think we'll go on board with Brabbit here and see what he can do. Farf is back out on track, so that's good. Unfortunately, 4 retirements from this qualifying session, all in the pits. They have decided not to take part in this quali, which is a bit of a shame, because I think they could probably do a pretty good job around here, but we'll find out what they can do in the races. Brabbit there pushing really hard. He's gone for a spin there on the exit of the long left-hander. And I think that might be his qualifying done and dusted. He's going to have to hope that the drivers behind cannot improve or can't improve enough to take his top spot away from him there. And unfortunately for Rabbit, that is going to cost him, and that's him out of well, not finished. It's probably finished in qualifying for the Mercedes driver, unless potentially he can get himself round the circuit to the start-finish line to start another lap before the checkered flag does fall. Kamara Racer is in the pits. That's him done and dusted in quali. Let's have a look and see what Fanjo can do. Or have we got some more people crossing the line? I think we have, no, Equaz there just starting his lap. Tango starting his lap as well. The Red Bull of Reflection crossing the line into P8 there. He's a 10th faster up into P8 now is the Red Bull driver. And then we've got a couple more drivers crossing the line. We've got all sorts of drivers crossing the line, I think. All sorts of the drivers there starting their laps. Smithy is back in the pits, so that is him gone and dusted. Kamara Racer is retired in the pits. He's going to be no higher than P2. He might be displaced as well. Tango has retired on the circuit. That is a crash there for Tango on the circuit somewhere. Let's have a look and see if we can find him. No, we can't. Oh, yes, we can. Here we go. There he is. Unfortunately for Tango, he's off the circuit there at the exit of, I think it's turn 8. Which is a big shunt there, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. That is him out of qualifying. Fanjo has gone faster still with a 27.3 there. Completely missed that, but there we go. On pole position as it stands at the moment. Fanjo, fantastic lap time indeed. He's 5/10, half a second faster than Brabbit as it stands at the moment. Brabbit just wheeling himself back into the pits. McMuffin there on track as well. Let's have a look and see if Beast can improve. He's up to P2 as well, a 27.6 from him as well. Puts him comfortably into P2 as well. Good stuff indeed. Brabbit there has finished. Muffin has spun there, unfortunately for him. That is him done and dusted. Nigel coming round the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Can he cross the line? Can he get himself further up the order? It's going to be a 27. It's 28. He stays in P7, unfortunately for him. Equaz now coming through. Is he going to be up into P2? No, stays P6 as well. He does improve there by just over a 10th and a half. But unfortunately, that is not enough for the Aston Martin driver. Not enough for the AlphaTauri driver of Nigel as well. The championship leader stays P7 as well. Craigar is coming around the final corner now. Reflection and Tango both retired. Cartboy's got himself up into P6, which is good stuff indeed from the Williams driver. He's had a bit of a difficult time so far this season. Here comes Craigar now up to the line. He has not improved, unfortunately. He stays P13, so that is it. Farf has stayed in P17 because he couldn't get a valid lap time together. And I think that is it. We're waiting for Fudger and Muffin. He's just coming to the pits now as well. So that is qualifying done and dusted in Miami for Silver Round 5. Thank you very much, Serious Mushroom, for liking on 2 devices. Yes, it's very good indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Very much appreciated, of course. Right, then we'll run through the classification for the silver qualifying around Miami in just a few seconds' time. And like I said, we'll run through, have a quick look and see what the driver's going to be starting on, which tyres they're going to be starting on as well in just a few seconds' time in this race, which will be coming up once we've got all the lovely menus out the way. But what a qualifying that was as well. We missed Fanjo's lap, unfortunately, but it was an absolute blinder, it looks like. He's almost 3/10 faster there than Beast in P2. Looking great stuff indeed for Fanjo. Unfortunately, his championship rival Nigel is in P8 now. He's been displaced, of course, by Cartboy's time as well. Ultimate Beast there reserving for Florin in P2. Brabbit there in P3 in the Mercedes Camaro. A fantastic qualifying from him as well in P4. McMuffin in P5. Cartboy, a really good qualifying from him as well after struggling this season so far in P6. Equaz there P7 and Nigel in P8. Pot Stuff in P9 and Reflection makes up your top 10. But yeah, blimey, that was a qualifying and a half, and I think unfortunately with Nigel and Equaz, they're going to be shooting themselves in the foot there, trying to they were trying to figure out why they're not as fast as the likes of Fanjo, Beast and Brabbit, but I'm sure we'll have something coming up. They'll have something up their sleeve in the race, of course, to show us why they're of course at the top of the championship. Indeed, scoring the big points, of course, is where you get what you get in the races. Not in qualifying, of course. You don't have to worry about where you qualify. It's about where you finish in the race. Looks like it's a nice sunny day in Miami as well, so we're not going to have any rain. Well, not any rain just yet. There is a grey cloud there, so maybe that will come down on top of us. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a nice dry start to the race at least, and then we'll be cracking on 29 laps around here. So looking forward to seeing what the race will unfold. Yeah, just wait for the timer to tick down now whilst the drivers sort their strategies out, get their tyres sorted, get the fuel loads all ready to get going in Miami. What has the new patch done? It's sorted out a rev glitch for spectators as we get the formation lap underway. Sorted out a rev glitch for spectators so they don't have that constant rev limiter sort of bouncing. It's done some other bits and pieces. There's actually a new game mode, which I think is just a sort of online lobby type thing, which is called elimination mode, which is quite nice. We'll have to try that out in ALR for a bit of fun. But basically, it's whoever's last sort of each lap gets eliminated until you've got 2 people left. So I'm not quite sure how many laps it is. If it's 20 laps or so, then it might be like a bit of a sprint race basically. But each time you finish each lap, there's the person in last loses their car. They're out basically. So yeah, I think it's similar to a GTA sort of theme where they basically whoever's last on each lap will get eliminated. Until you're down to the 2 drivers, and then that's the final lap that you sort of fight it out there. And I'm not quite sure. You'll have to try it out and play for it yourself. But of course, we'll try and maybe just do some fun lobbies with ALR towards the end of the week, so we can have a bit of a mess around with that as well. But we're not going to be messing around here in Miami tonight. We've got the silver grid just lining up now on the track. Irvine there in P20 on the hard compound tyres, so is Bradfield in P19. Dan Murphy and Farth, as well as Beefy, P18 up to 16. They're all on the hard compound tyres. So the bottom 5 all on the hard compound tyres there. Smithy Almighty's gone for the mediums. They're looking to get a faster start in that Williams there from P15. Cassell there on the hards, as well as Craig R in P14 and 13 respectively. And we've got Dopey Lemons and Tango both outside the points just on the hard compound tyres, P12 and P11. Into the top 10 then we've got both the Red Bulls on the 5th row. We've got a Reflection there on the hards, as well as Pot Stuff in P9 on the hards as well. Nigel, the championship leader in P8 there, not a good qualifying from him unfortunately. In the AlphaTauri there, starting at P8 on the hards as well, as is Equaz, P3 in the championship. In P7 on the grid on the hard compound tyres. Cartboy P6 in the Williams on the medium compound tyres. McMuffin in P5 on the hards in the Alpine, reserving tonight, of course. Camaro Racer with an excellent qualifying, his best qualifying of the season so far, is in P4 there on the medium compound tyres in the Ferrari. On the 2nd row, Brabbit as well accompanies him in P3 on the medium compound tyres as well. Beast there in P2, he's done a great job on his debut in the McLaren there on the hard compound tyres. And then our pole sitter Fanjo starting on the medium compound tyres, looking to get a fast start in this one as well from pole position. Right then, we've got 5 drivers on mediums. Everybody else is on hard compound tyres. Craig has been disqualified, unfortunately, as everyone seems to be parked up, nice and tidy. Let's have a better look and see if we can get the camera angles. Come on, what's going on here? I think the 5 red lights are on in Miami. And the 5 red lights are off, and away we go in Miami for the first time in silver. And there we go, off we go into turn 1. Beast looking to go down the inside of Fanjo. A great start there from the McLaren driver, but he's just trying to leave some space now for the Haas, who's coming through on the medium compound tyres. Those hards have really gone great guns indeed. Pot stuff spinning off the circuit. Unfortunately, he's at the back now. I'm not sure what happened to him there, but a great start indeed from Beast. He's got himself on the hard compound tyres as well, ahead of the medium runner of Fanjo, who put it on pole quite comfortably, and not a good start there for the Haas driver. But we'll see if there's going to be any movers or shakers in this one. Tango as well having a problem. We had a problem in qualifying, I think, at this sort of part of the circuit, and unfortunately that has cost him as well in this race so far. Not quite sure as far has got himself up into P13, I should say, ahead of Reflection, who's dropping down the order. We should put it on position changes, because that's what's going to be most important so far. As Beast has been passed back by Fanjo now into the sort of mini stadium section, and Fanjo regains the lead on the lead lap still as well on the first lap, so he's back in the lead of this race. Technically he's not led a lap in this one, so he's going to be crossing the line, I think, in P1. He's almost trying to get out that 1 second range already of the McLaren behind him. That is going to really put Beast under pressure there from Brabant Kamara Racer as well. We were both on the medium compound tyres. Equaz has gained 2 places as well. Good start indeed from him on the hards. He's got Cartboy and McMuffin now in between himself and Nigel, but Nigel, they're trying to make a move now on the Alpine, going down the inside there, but he's not been able to get the traction now out of the final hairpin. He has got the move done though, up into P7 there. We got a yellow flag in the background. I think it's Beefy off the circuit at the final hairpin as well. I'm not quite sure if there was a helping hand there, but both Beefy, Tango and Portstaff not having a good start to this race. Tango is in the pits, so he's calling it a day on those. Must have a front wing change incoming. I'm not quite sure if Beefy's not got any damage. He's managing to carry on. He has not got any damage there. Good stuff indeed. Unfortunately for Tango, he's got damage, but there's nothing. There's still plenty to go in this race. Plenty of laps to do, I should say. So anything can happen. He can still get himself back in the order later on in this stage. But out in front, it looks like Fanjo's trying to check out now in between these battles. But there's a mighty battle going on in the midfield. Dan Murphy up 7 places, up to 11th from P18, looking good at the moment. Muffin, they're just trying to keep the pressure on Nigel at the moment, but Nigel, I think, will be trying to get away and get as far up the order as he can. He's got Cartboy ahead of him and Equaz as well. Equaz, of course, is championship role. Brabant has had a spin in the underpass section, in the flyover section, I should say. He's now down into P9. Oh, he's just had I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe Craig got an illegal overtake and had to let him back through. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to Brabant there. He's still in the points though. He's not far off the battle there. He's dropped down 6 places, of course, now with that spin. Potentially, like so in qualifying, we've seen the pace he has. We'll see if he can get himself back in the order, potentially back onto the podium as well. We shall find out. Smithy and Farf battling away into the final hairpin as well. Smithy, of course, on the medium compound tyres, so we'll be looking to go a bit faster at this stage of the race. DRS has been enabled, so that will help the drivers now trying to line up a move into, of course, turn 1. Of course, I can't remember what turn that is. It's the sort of turn 12, I should say, 12, 13, something like that. Smithy and Farf once again battling into turn 1. This is holding them up. It's holding the drivers behind them up as well, and they're losing time now to Dan Murphy, who's in P11. Smithy, I think maybe has had a bit of a spin there. Not quite sure if there was contact or not, but that is him off the circuit. We'll have to find out if there's any wing damage on that Williams' car, as Dopey Lemons has also had a spin. It looks like there is wing damage, unfortunately, it's definitely wing damage for Smithy. I'm not sure if there's wing damage there for the Alpine of Dopey Lemons. We just saw him having a spin there as well. It's not been the easiest start for the silver drivers here in Miami tonight, as Fudge McMuffin has got himself past the championship leader of Nigel. Up into P6 now is the Alpine, and looking to try and get himself ahead now of the AlphaTauri, the championship leader. Cartboy picks up a 3-second battery. He's currently in P5 as he goes through the underpass section, but he's managed to keep hold of that P5. Of course, they've got a bit of a gap now to McMuffin there, who's been holding up Nigel as well, which is not good news for Nigel, but it's good news for Equaz and for Fanjo, who are currently ahead of him now at this stage of the race. Good luck to all, says Serious Flashman. Hi everyone, says Evidence as well. Oh, right, almost in the back of him there is Nigel there. I think that's what's happened to that Alpine. Seems to have ghosted, but I think they were just carrying on now nicely enough indeed. Brabbett has already caught up to this queue already, so there's going to be a three-way battle now for P6. As we go into turn one here, you can see on board with the Mercedes driver the proximity of the AlphaTauri and then the Alpine just ahead, just a few tenths of a second, that is. But like I said, we'll come back to that one because it's you can see the gaps in Formula One are very close indeed. They look quite far on track, but they're not quite far at all because of the speed of the cars. But yeah, Ultimate Beast, they're dropping back now from Fangio. Fangio, of course, making use of those medium compound tyres. We'll come back to the tyre compounds for in just a few laps' time. Smithy Almighty's back into the pits. I think he's got a wing change there to deal with. Tango is coming back through. He's now up into P19, trying to get himself back in this race. Unfortunately, Dopey Lemons, Beefy, Tango and Smithy have not had a good time so far. Nigel and Brabbett battling away. Oh, here we go then into the stadium section. Brabbett is on the inside. He's got the move done, I think, on those medium compound tyres. He's trying to use the extra pace to get himself back in the order. He's had a difficult start to this race, having a spin here in this section on the last lap, but now regaining his confidence, regaining his pace as well, up into P7 now, and trying to set his sights on the Alpine of McMuffin right ahead of him. Of course, Nigel doesn't have to bide his time, can bide his time at this stage of the race. He can, of course, use those hard compound tyres later on in the stint. The drivers like Brabbett, like McMuffin as well, will be on the medium compound tyres, so they'll be making an earlier pit stop. What's happening here? Craig R and Dan Murphy side by side into the final hairpin. This is going to be close indeed, and coming around now into the final corner of the lap. Here they go across the line. Farf is going to be interested in this as well. It looks like Farf is coming up into this battle. Dan going around the outside, but Craig on the inside. It's going to be close indeed. They're still going side by side through turn 2 and 3. This is going to be tense indeed, especially through here. It's quite easy to lose the car. Still going side by side, I think. Is anyone going to yield? No, they're still going side by side. This is incredible racing from Dan and Craig. Oh no, Craig! No, oh, that's a shame. That is a real shame there. Craig and Dan doing a fantastic job there. There wasn't any contact. It was just, unfortunately, the Craig lost the car, I think. But it was absolutely fantastic racing up to that for the last few corners of the last lap, and of course for the first few corners of lap 5 as well. Big shame there for Craig. Hopefully there's no damage to that car and he can carry on in this race. It doesn't look like there's damage, so he can at least get himself back into the order, I should say, back underway. Farf there we saw have a bit of a spin as well. He's dropped down behind Craig there. I'm not quite sure if there's damage for him either. There's no damage on that AlphaTauri either, which is good news. But yeah, Dan Murphy managing to carry on as is. But yeah, that was an epic battle there, as here comes Brabbett now coming past McMuffin into the final hairpin. He's got the move done before the braking zone as he cuts back in front of the Alpine and gets the move done into the final hairpin there, up into P6 now, back into P6 I should say. Not back into P6 as he did start in P3, looking to get him back up the order I should say. Brabbett now trying to get into the DRS range of Cartboy, who is currently in B5, 2 seconds ahead, but that gap is coming down quite quickly. Brabbett has got the pace. We've seen that in this race already in the qualifying as well. Out in front though, Ultimate Beast now 3.7 seconds behind the Haas driver, as Bradford has got past Reflection for the final points playing position as it stands at the moment. Brotstuff as well getting past Cassell, and both these drivers are both the Red Bulls and the Alfa Romeos, I should say, having a bit of a battle here. Irvine is joining the battle as well. So it's a 5-way battle here between the Alfa Romeos, one of the Haas's, and both the Red Bulls. Oh, I think there's a bit of contact there from Irvine there, but no harm done, no foul indeed, as Bradford now going to be under pressure from both Red Bulls, his teammate and the Irvine in the Haas. So looking forward to seeing how that battle is going to unfold. Here comes Reflection now, trying to get back that P10. He's got down the inside. He's gone very deep on the brakes though, and that could afford his teammate some space. Oh, contact is there. Let's have a look there. I think they're still side by side going through here. This is tense indeed. I think they both. Oh, careful! Oh my goodness, that was very close, and I think that's cost Reflection there, and it could have cost Popstuff as well. I think actually both of them have lost a lot of time to Bradfield now, and Bradfield has checked out. Here comes Irvine once again trying to line up a move now down the back straight. Looks like Potstuff is giving him a bit of a slipstream there, which is quite nice of him, even though he's probably meant to be slipstreaming his teammate. But there we go then, unfortunately for Reflection now, so it's cost him a bit of position there, I think, unfortunately to the likes of Irvine and Potstuff. And of course that's helped Bradford massively as well. He's got the gap up to 1.5 seconds. It's coming back down now though, but he's got a bit of a breathing space at this stage of the race, although we're only 7 laps in, so we're not a quarter of the way through just yet. We're almost a quarter of the way through, I suppose. Smithy did it on his own, says Serious Mushroom. So I'm not going to say what you just said in the next comment, but there we go. We've got a yellow flag somewhere. I think it's for Cassell. Unfortunately, he's had a spin there. It looks like at the exit of turn 2 or turn 3. He's got himself back underway. Fingers crossed there's no damage there as well. Doesn't look like it once again. But again, the damage model, I don't know if they fixed that or not, as looks like Irvine's really trying to check out in front. Look at that. It's now 4.5 is the gap. That is going to be great stuff indeed. He's trying to extend that gap as much as he can because, of course, the Beast will be on the faster compound tyre at the second phase of this race, the second stint. So, of course, he's on the hard compound tyres now. We'll go back to the tyres quickly. So there we can see, of course, Fanjo, Camaro, looks like Cartboy and Brabbit there are all on the faster tyre as it stands at the moment. But of course that will change when they switch over later on in this race to the hards, and then of course the hard compound runners currently will switch to the mediums. Supposedly that is the strategy, but of course the strategy might change as well for some drivers. Potstuff has got himself back past Potstuff, sorry, I should say. Really looking good so far in this race. He's going very deep there on the brakes. Bradfield might be able to sniff a opportunity to come back at it here into the final couple of corners. No, not quite, but maybe into turn 1. Here we go, on board with the Alfa Romeo driver down the main straight. Can he get a move into turn 1? He's a bit too far back, I think. Oh, that was a bit deep there on the brakes. Almost contact there, but I think just about stopped it in time. So that is P11 now for Bradfield. He's been overtaken there by the Red Bull driver, but they've lost a lot of time. 5 seconds now to Dan Murphy, who's in P9. He's on his own a bit at the moment, is Dan. He's 5 seconds between either driver ahead of him or behind him. So he'll be trying to battle back later on in this race. But there we go then. So yeah, I don't want to read out Serious Mushroom's last comment. Here comes Rabbit now down the inside of Cartboy, I should say. And he's now got the move done into the second DRS, or the first DRS, so now down the back straight and up into P5. So trying to regain that place that, of course, he lost with an unfortunate spin through this section on lap 3, I think it was. Oh no! As I said that, we've seen Brabbit go off, and that is wing damage there for the Mercedes. Big wing damage there. I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. He's trying to get the car back in the right direction. He's been overtaken now. He's back down to P9, which is where, of course, we saw him at the result of his first spin, as Fandra is pitting. The race leader has decided to come into the pits. I think he might have been preempting a safety car there for Brabbit's collision with the wall there. I think Brabbit will be coming in as well because, of course, that wing needs to be replaced, I think. Potentially the hards can go from here. We'll have to find out. 20 laps or so on the hard compound tyres will be a bit of a stretch. I think Brabbit is coming into the pits, I think, to replace that front wing. Hopefully he can slow the car down in time. He can do, which is good stuff indeed. Fanjo, let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out in P7, just ahead of Dan Murphy, I think. Trying to get those hard compound tyres warmed up will be the next challenge for him. Reflection and Dopey Lemon switching places into turn 1 as well. Oh, this is going to be close. Oh, it's so close indeed. More contact, I think, between the two of them. Here comes Farf once again as well, trying to sniff his way through. Reflection, I think, has got ahead into... No, they're still going to battle through here, and they're still battling through here. Craig R is out of this race. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a smash there. I'm not quite sure what's happened, but an overtake there from both Reflection and Farf. Farf has got his way through past the Alpine as well. Craig R is out of this race. Let's have a look and see what has happened to him. We'll have a look on board with Smithy Almighty. There is no safety car as it stands at the moment, or VSC as it stands at the moment, I should say. But here we go then, round through turn 3, and unfortunately there is the stricken McLaren. He is out of this race. The first retirement of this one. Dan Murphy picks up a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately for Dan, that is the first penalty. No, it's not. It's the second penalty of the day, of the night, I should say. Cartboy's picked up a penalty already. Irvine has switched. Irvine's had a spin there through the... we just need to try and get that car corrected, mate. There we go. So yeah, he's got himself back underway. Unfortunately for Irvine, there, it's he's had a bit of a spin there through that very difficult complex of corners. There, it is really easy to lose the car, and of course you're setting up the car for a lot of straight line speed with these 3 or 2.5 long back straights. with a DRS as well. You've got to set the car up for a lot of speed, straight line speed that is, and of course in the corners that just plays a bit of havoc sometimes with the car itself, especially through that sort of sector 2 complex at the very end of sector 2, going under the flyovers. It's really difficult to try and negotiate sometimes. I struggle myself, but that's not anything new. So yeah, unfortunately for Irvine, he has come a cropper there as well. But hopefully he can get himself back in this race. Like I said, he's doing a great job so far. Here comes Ekpaz now, getting himself up into P2, getting past the medium runner of Kamara Racer. Both the medium runners, or 2 medium runners now. There's 2 in the top 5, in the top 4, I should say. Cartboy and Camaro, of course, started on the medium compound tyres as well. So looking to go a bit longer, I think, than Fanjo and Brabet. Brabet, I think, had an enforced stop there, but of course Fandro didn't. Fandro was out in the lead by quite a few seconds and has decided to come into the pits. He's come out in P7, so that will be him trying to get to the end on those hard compound tyres, I would assume. Eye through the needle stuff between Dan, Farf and Craig. Yeah, it was close indeed, and I think we re-saw it there with Farf, Reflection and Dopey Lemons as well in the same part of the track. So it was absolutely epic racing indeed. I can't say I wasn't nervous to watch that, because of course I have to deal with all the incidents afterwards. But yeah, I think unfortunately for Craig it was just a loss of traction there. It wasn't any issue from any contact or any incident there, but it's a bit of a shame there for Craig R, who was doing a good job in this race up till then. Cassell has got past Irvine there for P14. Into the hairpin they go, side by side they still go. Irvine there on the outside now. Cassell's got the move done, but Irvine, I think, might be trying to come back at him. We've got a switch of places here for Beefy. I think Beefy having a bit of an issue coming through into the final hairpin. He's got himself back underway. Cassell has been passed back by Irvine, and then they come back once again. Here comes another battle, I think. Turn 3 is looming, and Cassell trying to go around the outside here. He can hold it around the outside here, can he? Let's turn off the menus as we go through. He decided to bide his time. He's decided not to take that move at this stage of the race, but what a race it has been, especially through this sector here. We've been seeing cars going through audacious moves, audacious overtakes, keeping it clean and tidy still as well. But it's been absolutely epic indeed from all the drivers who've taken part in this one so far. Unfortunately, the only DNF so far is Craig R, who had a bit of a difficult looked like the setup was a bit struggling really, unfortunately for the McLaren driver. Here we go then, let's have a look and see what McMuffin can do. He's the next driver to try and make a move and get past Cartboy on the DRS. No moves done so far. He's going to have to bide his time. Cartboy doing a great job on those medium compound tyres, as is Camaro. Who's coming into the pits now is the Ferrari driver from P3 on in this race. And looking good indeed at this stage. Let's see what he can do now onto the hard compound tyres. I would assume he is onto the hards now. He's going to come out behind his rival of Fanjo. Dan Murphy's gone through as well. Will Potstuff get the move done as well? I think he might be behind Bradfield and just outside the top 10 here at this stage, Camaro. But of course he's still got plenty of laps to go, of racing to come as well. So he's going to be side by side. It's going to be close indeed between himself and Bradfield. Bradfield there, of course, on the fresher, well, not the fresher tyres, but the warmer tyres, and of course Camaro trying to get his tyres warmed up, and that will mean that Bradfield has got to just bide his time. We're trying to go around the outside here as Bradfield is trying to put his nose in there, here, there and everywhere. But of course Camaro trying to warm up those tyres, it is going to be much more difficult for him at this stage of the race, especially with all the pressure that Bradfield is putting on him as well. I think the DRS now for Bradfield will mean he can get past the Ferrari and get himself up into P9 here, but I think Camaro, of course, once those tyres are warmed up, he will be able to get himself back through with ease. But Camaro there just dropping down to P10 for now with those tyre warm-ups. It takes about a lap for the hard compound tyres to get themselves properly up to speed, up to temperature I should say really. But yeah, unfortunately it's going to take him a few more corners before he can really challenge. And of course you can see the time loss there just coming out of the pits. You could see how much Bradfield was pushing, trying to get through, but of course it was just it was not to be. And I think he played it very safe there, which is good stuff indeed. It was very clean indeed. Here comes Nigel and Fanjo. Fanjo has just got past his championship rival. Into the pits comes Cartboy. Nigel trying to come back now at the Haas driver. Can he get himself back past into turn 1? It's going to be late on the brakes for both of them. Around the outside. Oh, Fanjo, I think there might have been a bit of contact there, but he's got himself through. Dan Murphy's got past Cartboy, who's in the pits. Is he? What's happened to Cartboy? He's in the pits. He's coming out of the pits now. Good stuff indeed. Right, he's safe. Good stuff. Camaro's got through, and I think Farf might as well. It's going to be close indeed. And I think Cartboy there on the hard combat tyres, just getting them warmed up, is his main concern now. He doesn't need to worry about Farf getting through. He just needs to get those hard combat tyres warmed up and into the key operating window now to get himself through the order. He's just lost time there. He's just lost a position, I think, as well to Reflection. You can just see there that is the tyre warm-up that is not helping him. Unfortunately, Cartboy now under pressure from Dopey Lemons as well. And that is just because the tyres are just not up to temperature just yet. And the tyres on the cars around him, even though they're 12 laps old for Dopey Lemons and for Reflection, they're just so much warmer that they're ready to get going. They're ready to get into our corners a lot quicker than the car ahead, which is that Williams, but he's managed to keep the position ahead of Dopey Lemons for now. He's gone deep on the brakes once again. Of course, those tyres still not up to temperature, and that is just going to slow him down into the braking zones as well. He's trying to stick on to the back of that Red Bull to keep that DRS as well. That will be crucial for him at this stage of the race, to hold on to that DRS at this stage, to make sure he doesn't get overtaken by the Alpine of Dopey Lemons as well. He has just about held on to that DRS, I think, as well, which is good stuff indeed. And now those tyres should be getting up to the right temperature now for him to be able to crack on with this race. Wow, good stuff indeed. We've got Tango there on 11-lap-old mediums. Serious Mushroom just said, what's going on with Tango? I think he's had a bit of a difficult start. He did have a bit of a problem on the first lap, I think, as well. I think there was a spin there at the exit of turn 3 or turn 4, I think it was, which was a bit of a shame there for Tango, and he's just trying to recover himself now in this race, hoping for a safety car potentially. We will have to find out. We did have a crash there for Craig R around the end of Sector 1. But we didn't get anything for that. No VSC or no safety car. Dopey Lemons and Reflection switching places, as I think Reflection has just had a bit of a loss of traction there, and that has cost him a place to Dopey Lemons and Cartboy as well, I think. Cartboy's got himself through for P10, so he's now back in the points, is Cartboy. Good stuff indeed. Right then, it's all starting to unfold now, isn't it? So yeah, we're getting a few more laps of action here. I'm going to try and keep an eye on it as best I can, but I guarantee that I won't, as I think we just had somebody going over the curbs here. I think it might have been McBuffin or Fanjo. Fanjo trying to line up a move now. Here comes Equaz now for the lead of the race. Can he make a move into the final hairpin? I don't think so. I think he's a bit too far, but he's going to have to bide his time, stay with that McLaren. Here comes Fanjo, though. Can he get a move now on McMuffin for the podium places of P3? Of course, he's in a net P1, as he has made his stop. But let's see if he's going to be able to get himself through now down the main straight. I think he's going to have to bide his time once again for another lap, and then go again on the the longer DRS straight, that is. But staying in P4, sorry, for Sector 2. Oh, nope, not Nigel. What's happening there? But Muffin's off the circuit. He's let him through. Is he going to do the same for Nigel, though? I'm not quite sure if he's going to do that or not. Or maybe it was just a loss of traction again for the Alpine. The Alpine doesn't seem to be having a great time there on traction zones on both cars. Yeah, nonetheless, it looks like Fanjo has been let through there. Nigel now getting himself after the Alpine as well. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think it might have just been a loss of traction there for the Alpine. Equaz has got the lead of the race. Tango has got past Bradford. Bradford had a bit of a spin there, it looked like. We've got yellow flag further up the order. Kamara Racer. Oh no, not Kamara. He was doing such a good job in this race. He's still in the points, but he's going to now be under pressure from his arrival of Cartboy, who has already made his pit stop as well. Yeah, hopefully... no, I think there is damage to that Ferrari. I think there is damage on that left end plate, which is horrible news for the Ferrari driver of Camaro. Yeah, there is left end plate damage on that Ferrari. That is horrible news, because he was doing a fantastic job in this race. He qualified in P4, started on the medium compound tyres. We're looking great in this race. Would be in a net P2, I think, if the pit stops all happened at this stage, as he's just gone off the circuit there, trying to get himself out of the way, I think, of everybody coming through. But now he's just putting himself under pressure here into the onto the long DRS straight. Here we go. Reflection's got past Dopey Lemons, and here comes Cartboy now into the final hairpin. They've got to be careful here, because of course the Ferrari does have damage, so that is going to of course make his braking point. Oh no! We all knew that was going to happen. We just saw that coming as well, and Cartboy has lost 2 positions now because of that. Unfortunately there, that contact from Kamara Racer, that was Kamaro's fault as well with the damage. So unfortunately, if that is reported, then that will be reviewed, and that will be unfortunately not in his favour. But he needs to get a new front wing on that car ASAP. And of course there's still pit stops to come. So there's plenty of opportunities left in this race. There's a lot of pit stops now for the other drivers to get themselves in and out of the order as well. And he's not going to be that far off the points paying position still, I don't think, once he gets himself back up to speed as well. On those medium compound tyres, we've seen him already. He is quick. Smithy Almighty's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for Smithy, that is not as compounding his race. Unfortunately, at this stage, Dopey Lemons is back under pressure now from Cartboy. Of course, Cartboy lost a position there to Dopey Lemons and Reflection in P8 now because of the contact from Kamara there from the back. But he's now going to try and get himself back in this race. Of course, everybody, Ultimate Beast has pitted. He's in P6. Potsdam picks up a 3-second penalty there for track extensions, unfortunately, in P7. So that is a 3-second time that's going to be added onto his race classification, I should say. Into the pits comes the race leader of Equaz. He's going to be going onto the medium compound tyres, I would assume. Fanjo regains the lead of the race. Of course, on to the hard compound tyres. He went 8 laps ago now. Looks like the other drivers of Equaz will be going on to the mediums and going for a shorter stint. Ultimate Beast there crossing the start-finish line is going to get ahead of Equaz, I think, just about. Or the exit of the pit is going to be close indeed. Let's have a look here. It's close indeed. Look at that. The McLaren just about gets ahead now of the Aston Martin. And looks like Ultimate Beast there doing a good job there, looking on for a podium place in his first reserve appearance in silver. Equaz will have something to say about that P2, though. I think he'll try and get himself back into the DRS range and get himself back up the order. Brabham's got himself back up into P11. Looking good indeed. Beefy has got a penalty there for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for Beefy, that is his race compounded as well. Of course, the penalties are adding up for people as well around here. We've got some more changes there around the order, but I think it's just the pit stop. The driver's having a pit stop there. Camaro is back underway. He seems to have lost a bit of confidence there because he's now got the Mercedes of Tango all over the back of him here for P15. But potentially there's still areas to be gained for the Ferrari driver. He's got the pace. We've seen that in quali, so I think he can potentially unveil that once again in this one and go great guns to get himself into the points paying position still at this stage of the race. Although he has got a penalty, unfortunately, I didn't notice that. 3-second penalty there for Kamara Racer, as is the same for Pot Stuff in P5, Cartboy in P7, Dan Murphy in P10, and then we've got 5-second penalties there for Beefy and Smithy there for both for speeding into the pit lanes, unfortunately. As into the pits comes McMuffin there from P2. Beast has got the fastest lap of the race. Good stuff indeed from him. Equaz there crosses the line now to take P3. He is dropped out of DRS range, of course, with the tyre warm-up. Potstuff picks up a penalty there for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately for Potstuff. That is not good news for him as well. That's going to be added, of course, onto his race time was once again. It seems like all the penalties are now going to be added onto their race time, unless there's other pit stops, of course. If there's a safety car or anything like that, and they do decide to make a pit stop, they can serve that 5 seconds in that stop instead of adding it to their race time at the end of the race. Potstuff coming out of the pits now. He's going to be out in P12 ahead of his teammate. Is he going to be ahead of his teammate by 8 seconds, though? That's the question. So I don't know. I don't think so. It's going to be quite close, and I think it's going to be quite interesting to see. As Tango and Camaro, they're going side by side. Off the circuit goes Camaro and Tango as well. Actually, Tango having a spin into the wall. I don't know if there was contact there between. Well, I don't know if there's damage there, I should say, really, to Tango's car. He went into the wall with quite some force. His Cartboy's got past Dopey Lemons into P6. Nigel's got past McMuffin into P4 as well. He's 10 seconds back from the top 3. But he's going to try and get that gap down, of course, as much as he can. The gap between Fanjo and Ultimate Beast is 11 seconds. Let's have a look at that in the next few laps. Of course, the medium compound tyres will be the best tyre to be on, or the better tyre to be on, out of the two at this stage of the race. So we'll have to see how quickly that gap will come down to Fanjo. But Fanjo looking good at the moment for a race win. Almost in the back there was the Alpine of McMuffin there. Looked like he was almost going to be driving Nigel off the road, which we've seen, unfortunately, for Cartboy already. But nonetheless, he's still going nicely in this race. McMuffin doing a good job as well, looking good for a P5 at least, potentially even P4. Dan Murphy is up to pit. Irvine, sorry, is pitting. I didn't notice that. Irvine now into the pits there for the Haas team, and we'll be going on to a nice new set of boots. He will be dropping out the points at this stage of the race, but we'll have to find out if it's going to come back to him later on. But Irvine there, of course, we saw having a bit of a difficult start to the race, of course, starting down in P20 as well. He has now got himself up, he's going to be out in around P14, might be close between himself and Camaro. I think Camaro, they're going to come out side by side with the Haas. Almost getting in the way there of the Haas. There was the Ferrari. Tango there into the pits has pit and quit, unfortunately, so that is him out of the race, and that is, of course, going to be a 5-second penalty, unfortunately, for him as well, added on to his race time at the next race that he attends. McMuffin has got himself back past Nigel up into P4. They will get 5 seconds for not serving it as well, won't they? So, yeah, I think you mean for the 5 seconds of serving in the pit, speeding in the pit lane. Yeah, that will be added on to their race time at the end of the race if they don't serve it in another pit stop later on in this race, of course. Here comes Nigel once again, coming back past. Tango has left the session. He's done and dusted with this one. But now Nigel's up into P4, got himself through into the older. Once again, it looks like the Alpine is so much later on the brakes, but he's managed to keep that position. Has Nigel up into P4 once again, but they're both losing time there. You can see the gap now is still 11, is actually extended now to 11 seconds to Equaz. That means that the podium is probably off the cards, unfortunately, for both these drivers. Dopey Lemons is back in the pits. He is in the pit, sorry, for the first time, I should say. So he's decided to call it a day now on those hard compound tyres, looking to get himself back into the pits to get a new set of boots on. The medium compound tyres going on that Alpine. He's back outside of the points now. So let's have a look and see what's going to happen next. Irvine there is down in P15. We might see him come through and get that position back, but once again, I think it's going to be another driver who's going to be close indeed for Camaro Racer coming out the pits. And Camaro there almost frightened himself off the road there. I think he has frightened himself off the road there. Trying to go around the outside now of the Alpine. The warm-up again, like I said, is going to be much greater on that Alpine car. So he's going to be much slower at this stage of the race. Compared to the freshly warmed up tyres now or 4-lap old tyres of Camaro Racer. Dopey Lemons picks up a penalty there. I think that warm up there, again, like I mentioned, is just driving, making sure the car keeps it on the track. It is a very difficult thing to do. Here comes Camaro. He's already through before the DRS is even open, and he's got the move done now up into P13, getting ahead of Dopey Lemons now into P13. It looks like here comes Irvine as well. He's trying to get past around the outside here. Oh, down the inside goes the Alpine there. It's very close indeed between all three of them. They've made the move stick. Well, they have. I think they made the move stick. It looks like they have. Here comes. Look at this battle here as well. Equaz has got past up into P2. Irvine picks up a 3-second penalty there. Unfortunately for Irvine, he's coming through the underpass section, and I think he's gone over the curbs there. Unfortunately for him, Brabbit has been passed by Farf. So now Brabbit dropping down into P9, but he's still got some good laps to come, and I think potentially if he can follow far through and maybe get within 3 seconds of Dan Murphy, maybe even Cartboy as well, they could potentially jump up a few places as well. Here comes Nigel and McMuffin once again battling through Sector 1. It looks like there's still going to be switching places in this one. Ultimate Beast is not giving up the fight as well for P2, looking to go round the outside now of Equaz, and he's got the move done once again. So both of these drivers switching places once again. Here comes McMuffin. He's going to be able to do the same as the McLaren. We'll find out now as here they come. He's going down the inside this time. McMuffin has got the move done up before the braking zone, now into the final corner before the stadium section, that is, and he's got the move up to P4. So both of these drivers still switching places over and over again. It looks like nobody wants to give up the fight, of course, but all this fighting as well, I should say, is giving Fanjo a great lead and a great gap at the moment. He's only come down by about half a second over the last 4 or 5 laps. Camaro Racer has been passed by Irvine. Up into P13 now is the Haas driver, and Camaro, they're dropping down the order at the moment. Nigel's got back past McMuffin as well for P4. No, McMuffin's got back past as well, so they're still battling away, those two. But here's the battle. Here's 3 of them here. Irvine, Dopey Lemons, and Camaro as well. Camaro's now got the DRS down the back straight towards the final hairpin. Let's see if he can make any moves here. Dopey Lemons looks like he's closest to make a move here. Down the inside, potentially. Could he go? I think he's a bit too far back to try to dive there, and he's thankfully thought better of it as well. Good stuff indeed. But unfortunately, it's, we've had 2 retirements so far. Tango and Craig are both out of this race with 22 laps in, so we've only got 7 laps or so to go. But it has been an entertaining one, put it that way. So, like I said, I think yeah, a few eventful moments at this track as well. Of course, the debut for Silver as well at Miami. So, of course, it was going to throw up a interesting race. Nonetheless, Ultimate Beast has got a 3-second penalty now, so that is going to cost him time to Equaz, and that must mean that Equaz can probably just sit behind him now and stay comfortable. He doesn't have to try and overtake the McLaren anymore. But that will mean that not Mr. Beast, Ultimate Beast, will be dropping down into P3. He won't be off the podium because they've got a massive gap of 12 seconds to Nigel now, not to Fudge McMuffin. Ultimate Beast has just gone. He's just left. Let Equaz through here. I'm not quite sure if there's a problem there for the McLaren. Hopefully not. But fingers crossed he can get himself back underway. Nigel and McMuffin have switched places once again. Nigel back up into P4. So there we go. That is done and dusted there. Good stuff indeed. Cassell there trying to line up a move now on a Reflection. He's got himself up into P11. Good stuff. Just outside the points as well, to be fair. He's not far off. Can he get himself into range of Pot Stuff and get that final point off of the Red Bull? That will mean no points for Red Bull at all as it stands at the moment, of course. But we'll have to find out if he can get within that range. He's got 6 laps or so now to get 6 seconds, or 3 seconds actually, because of the penalties. No, I should say he's all right at the moment because, of course, Pot Stuff has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. So that is 8 seconds. So he just has to stay. He can lose 2 seconds now to Pot Stuff, and he can still get an extra point. So he just has to stay clean and consistent, and try and bide his time in this one. Of course, unless Pot Stuff can disappear off up the road. He's now trying to get past Brabbit here for P9. He's got the move done and dusted. I think Brabbit there, unfortunately, on those hard compound tyres, having to make that early stop, might come back to bite him at this at the end of this race in this final stint. But if he can now stay with the runners on the mediums, he can be all right. He can use that to keep him in contention. Cassell going around the outside of Reflection there. He's got the move. He kept the position, I should say. Very nicely done indeed. Brabbit there is just dropping down into P10, but we'll be trying to stick within the DRS range of the Red Bull ahead of him. But like I said, Pot Stuff, I think with that penalty coming back to him, he might lose places. He might losing the points playing positions as well, actually, potentially with Brabbit and Cassell and his teammate of Reflection close behind, within the range of his penalties that is behind. So yeah, come back to bite Pot Stuff, unfortunately, in this race. So yeah, not good news at all indeed. McMuffin and Nigel have calmed down in their battle now, as has Beast and Equaz. The gap is still 11 seconds to Fanjo, though. Fanjo is doing a great job out in front. He's absolutely blitzed this race. Like I said, qualified on pole. He was overtaken on the first lap, but he got the lead back before the end of lap 1. And the only time he hasn't led a lap is when he's made a pit stop, of course, from the mediums to the hards, and the hard runners carried on. So it's been absolutely epic from Fanjo in this race. We'll have a quick look very soon. Oh, not Dopey Lemons there. Fudge McMuffin too late on the brakes there. Almost contact with Nigel, and that would not have been good, especially for the championship leader, who is wanting to maximise as many points as he can get, possibly. But let's have a look at the penalty situation as well. We'll have a look at the position changes as well in just a jiffy. There, 3 seconds now for Ultimate Beast, and for Cartboy, and for Dan Murphy. 8 seconds for Pot Stuff. 3 for Irvine, 3 for Camaro, 3 for Dopey, all in that 3-way battle as well, and then 5 for Beefy, 5 for Smithy at the back of the field. But doing a good job of keeping going in this one. As just as I say that, we've got a yellow flag, and it is Camaro there off the circuit there in P. He's down in P into P16 as Bradfield's got through. He's gone through the stadium section there and had a bit of a spin there. Bradfield's got a 3-second penalty as he goes through the underpass flyover section. So that has unfortunately cost him a penalty there as well. Not Bradfield. Irvine. Oh, I thought there was contact there. Irvine and a Reflection going almost into each other there through the final hairpin. Reflection dropping down now into P13. Coming back now down into turn 1. Can he make that move? No, he's too far back, unfortunately, at this stage. Kamara there having a bit of a struggle there, trying to get himself back underway. Looks like he's coming into the pits now, so he's going to call it a day now on these tyres, and that is him done and dusted now on the medium compound tyres. Potentially go for the fastest lap of the race on the soft compound tyres. Nigel being passed by McMuffin now into P4 goes the Alpine once again. These two still battling it out. Beast maybe just happy to take third and avoid more pens, says Serious Restaurant. I think that's not his plan, is at the moment. He's not got any pressure from behind, has he? So I think McMuffin is too far back, as is Nigel as well, to really put any pressure on him in the last few laps. We are into the end of, almost the end of lap 25. We're on to lap 26 now, so we've now got 4 laps to go, isn't it? For 26, 27, 28, 29. There we go. My quick maths, as Fudge McMuffin has got past Nigel. Once again, yellow flag in sector 2. What's happened in sector 2? We got is Dopey Lemons, I think, having a bit of a problem there. Again, in the same section that Kamara just had an incident in as well on the last lap. Nigel and McMuffin still battling away down into turn 1 this time. Going down the inside is the Alpine. Once again, still battling away, and still battling away. And so it's been absolutely epic between these three, between these two, I think I should say. Myself not included. That's why it's only 2. But like I said, since the last sort of 10 laps or so, these two have been battling away, switching places pretty much lap after lap, and it's been absolutely epic to watch. Very clean racing as well. Very near misses as well from Muffin, I think, almost going into the back of the AlphaTauri, but he's managed to keep it all together so far, which is good. Another yellow flag. It's for Smithy this time. Unfortunately, he just needs to get himself getting going. Nigel got back past the Alpine. No, the Alpine going in deep there into the braking zone. He's trying to hold on to that position. He's going to go around the outside here. Is Nigel? Can he get a move around the outside? No, he can't. Unfortunately, he's going to have to bide his time once again and stay behind that Alpine of McMuffin for the time being. But again, the DRS zone, another DRS zone is coming up. All into the wall there, looks like, went Nigel. Hopefully there's no damage on that car. We'll have to find out. So I think it was, I don't know, I'm not sure if there's contact there. Oh, there is contact once again there. Blimey, I'm not quite sure what's going on between Nigel and McMuffin there. But yeah, hopefully they can smooth out their differences. We've got Smithy there. I think he's getting another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Hopefully he can get himself onto a new set of boots and go for a faster lap in this one. I think that's what Kamara potentially is going to be doing as well. Kamara has got onto the soft compound tyres, as Brabbit has been passed by Farf. Pottsov has got through actually up into P8, so that might be good news for him. It might be extending the gap to the drivers outside of the points so that he can at least finish in P10. Potentially, we'll find out. But Brabbit there is doing quite a good job here. He's bringing the gap down to the drivers in front. Of course, penalty situations will mean that he can gain a few extra spots here as well with the penalties that are going to be added in. I'm not quite sure if we've got the driver of the day poll in the comment section of YouTube just yet. But yeah, we'll have a quick look at the position changes as well. There you can see Equaz up 5. Dan Murphy doing a great job there in P7 as well. Farf also gaining 8 places as well. So I think yeah, my candidates are definitely Dan Murphy. Always, what's happened there? I think McMuffin's off the circuit. That is him off the circuit. We have got a driver of the day poll there. It's Fanjo, Cartboy, Equaz, and Dan Murphy are your options there. So get your votes in now for driver of the day. McMuffin there. Oh, what's happening to that Alpine car? Dopey Lemons has retired on the circuit. And that is not good news indeed. I'm not quite sure what is going on here. It seems like it's all started to... it's definitely not going well for the Alpines guys at this stage of the race, unfortunately. So there we go. Unfortunately, it's yeah, not going too well at this stage of the race for the Alpine. What is going on there? Camaro has just Camaro's just gone into his teammate, I think. Goodness gracious, I don't know what's going on. We'll have to review that after the race. But yeah, okay, we'll come back to that one. Smithy has been lapped, as has Kamara, I think, as well. I'm not quite sure if there was just a spin there for Kamara or if there was a ghost car that might have unsighted him or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Maybe not sure. Well, really not sure at all what was going on there. But yeah, it's just it's not been Kamara's race. Unfortunately, he's done a great job of qualifying and really showed the good pace in that one as well. And got unfortunate with the spin, and then I think that cost him a bit of wing damage, and that has caused him an extra pit stop in this race. Unfortunately for him, Dopey Lemons is also out of this race. That's 3 DNFs now, which is not good news. But unfortunately, that is yeah. Unfortunately, I think a couple of them were avoidable as well. Well, I think Tango's one was because he was in the pits when he retired, so I don't think he needed to retire at that stage. But nonetheless, we're on to the final lap of the race. Fanjo has just started the final lap of the race now, and we are going to be getting going for lap 29 of 29 as well. Just going to the end and cruising to the end now as well. The 12-second gap for Fanjo. He's got the move, got that move up into the lead. Well, kept the lead, I should say, from the start of the race, extending that gap massively in the first stint to about 6 seconds or so. But even so, after the pit stop phases, you thought the medium compound tyres would come back into the favour of the likes of Beast, of Equaz, I think it is as well. But he's just extended that gap even more, which has been incredible from the Haas driver. He's really deserved the candidate for driver of the day, in my opinion. I'm not quite sure if the driver of the day has finished or not, but I think you can still vote for the time being. A great debut there from Beast, says Ginger Rage. Yeah, good stuff indeed. As Cassell has retired. That is ridiculous if that's in the pits. Unfortunately, that is Cassell there in the pits, retiring in the pits. So that is a penalty there for him as well for the next race that he is attending. He only had one more lap to go, so he could have just finished the race off. But that is it, done and dusted for Cassell. Around the final couple of corners, here comes Fanjo now around the final turn. The Hard Rock Stadium is applauding as he comes around the final turn now of Miami to win the Miami Grand Prix Season 5 of Silver, Round 5 of Silver. And what a race it's been indeed from Fanjo. Absolutely epic indeed from the Haas driver. A commanding victory, a commanding lead, and a commanding pole position as well. What a race. He's got the Grand Slam in this one. Fantastic racing indeed from the Haas driver, from car number 2 of Fanjo. Equaz there finished in P2 after a great battle there with Beast as well. Of course, Beast had his 3-second penalty, so it wasn't going to be too much of a battle towards the end. But great stuff indeed from Equaz to get that P2 as well. It helps him in the championship as well. Beast there in P3. Nigel did do a good job of recovering, actually, starting in P8 on the grid, and he had a bit of a battle through quite a few drivers there to get himself through the order, and now up into P4, finishing in P4. McMuffin in P5. Cartboy there finishes in P6. A season best for Cartboy as well. Good stuff indeed from him. Dan Murphy in P7. Brabbit there in P8 in the end with penalties handed on. Farf in P9. Potstaff did get that final point in P10. Irvine in P11. Reflection in P12. Bradfield there is going to cross the line, I think, in P13, and Beefy there in P14. Kamara Racer there had a really difficult race there. Did a great job in qualifying, but it all went to hell. It looked like in the latter stages of that race, and so did Smithy. Smithy as well, not having a good time in that Williams there, having to make a couple of stops as well. Unforced errors there, unfortunately. But yeah, just waiting for these two now to cross the finish line. Bradfield and Beefy. It looks like Beefy's got past the Alfa Romeo somehow. Good stuff indeed. So Beefy, they're going to cross the line in P... Oh, he's got a 5-second penalty there, so that might come back to bite him. But Beefy there coming up into P13, I think. And then Bradfield there in P14 is your final standings. Cracking stuff indeed. What a race. What a race indeed. That was very good. Good stuff, good stuff. No, there we go. You can see there Fanjo there onto the podium, onto the top step of the podium as well. Going to be celebrating his win in style. Hopefully we can get some people in the party with Fanjo, Beast, and of course Equaz for a nice little interview as well. Would be good. But yeah, so looking great indeed there for Fanjo. Absolutely commanding victory for him as well. Really strong racing from race pace himself. Of course, we saw it in qualifying what he can do as well. So that is formidable. Of course, trying to get himself back in the championship fight with Nigel. Of course, who dropped points now to Fanjo there in this one. Of course, it was the vice versa in round 4 of Imola. So yeah, not too bad indeed. But there you go, Fanjo. There is your winner there from pole position as well. We've got there Equaz in P2, Beast there in P3 on his debut, and of course getting the fastest lap point as well, so that's an extra point for McLaren. Nigel there in P4 did actually do a good job there getting himself through the order. There was some great battles throughout there. Driver of the day has gone to Fanjo as well in the comment section. Cartboy there in P6, Dan Murphy P7, Brabbit there in P8, Farf in P9, Potstuff in P10. Just outside the points, you've got Irvine there in the Haas, Reflection in P12, Beefy in P13, and Bradfield there in P14, Camaro P15, and Smithy Almighty in P16. Unfortunately, Cassell is going to have a penalty there on his next race for a pit and quit. Dopey Lemons there had an accident, unfortunately. Tango also going to have a penalty for a pit and quit, and Craigar also had an accident earlier on in this race. So that is the classification for the Miami Grand Prix. Right then, I'm hoping that some people have been added to the party. If not, I'll try and do it myself. Nobody's added anybody to the party, which is great. Bear with me 1 second. Equaz and Ultimate Beast. Right, bear with us 1 second. We'll just get them added to the party, and then hopefully they can jump in. So, yeah, in the meantime, we'll talk amongst ourselves. But what a race it has been as well. Really good stuff indeed from all the drivers there. Really good epic racing from everybody. Been a pleasure to commentate on once again. Really good stuff. So yeah, hopefully we can see more of that in round 6, which of course will be Spain next week. Fanjo has joined the party, which is good stuff indeed. I need to turn my mic back on because of course it disconnected. But yeah, like I said, really good stuff indeed from all the drivers in this one. Unfortunate incidents, and I think a couple of incidents there that could have been dealt with as well. But nonetheless, everyone has done a good job in this one. So let me just sort out my headset. There we go. Hi, right, guys. There we go. I think we've only got Fanjo in here at the moment. Fanjo, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Hello? Hello? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. All right, here we go. Fanjo, can you hear me? Good stuff. We've got Fanjo here now. We're ready to get going. Yeah, so Fanjo, that was I was just saying in the stream as well, absolutely epic racing indeed from yourself. Well, what was your thoughts firstly in qualifying? You put it on pole position by almost 0.3 of a second. No, it was really good stuff indeed from yourself. And then in the race itself, we saw you on the start on the mediums. Was that always going to be a strategy choice? Yeah, it was very good. And what was your thoughts when you were on the hard compound tyres in the second stint, you saw the gap actually extending to the medium runners behind you? Good stuff indeed. Well, it all worked out in the end. Maximum points, grand slam as well with the pole position. So really good stuff indeed from yourself. Oh well, won't worry about that. We'll forget about that one. But what's your thoughts for Spain, of course, coming up next week? Great stuff indeed. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you back on the podium, hopefully, for next round. And thanks very much for everyone who's joined us, of course, for the Miami round 5 in silver. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow night for bronze round 5 as well in Miami. And then, of course, the 100% league will be on the Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. as well. All at, well, this time it's going to be at Spain. So get your practice in for your next week of gold, silver, or bronze in the 100% league, I suppose. But anyway, we'll see you all next week. We'll see you all next week. Sorry, for silver. We'll see you all tomorrow, of course, for bronze. And stay tuned to ALR for more F1 esports.